On time and smiling. Whether you're going to LaGuardia, Kennedy, Newark, or riding around town, Dial 7 saves you time and money. We've got a bold new look, and we're the best ride in town. Dial 7 car and limousine service, 777-7777.
CNN presents Soldier Guinea Pigs, Sunday night, 8 Eastern.
As we've been reporting, conservative blogger Andrew Breitbart has died. He was just 43 years old, a hero to the political right for promoting what he liked to call citizen journalism. Breitbart had plenty of critics as well. So let's talk about his life and his legacy with Joel Pollak. He is the editor-in-chief and in-house counsel for the website Breitbart.com. Joel, thank you for joining us. I know that this is a friend of yours, so our condolences to you as well. I just think it's incredible that you're taking the time to spend some time with us today. If you can please tell us, what do you know about his passing? Were you there at the time? Was he ill?
Andrew was not ill, and it was very unexpected. In fact, I had been speaking to him throughout the day and the evening. He had been emailing story ideas, new leads, new tips, and very much engaged in the websites that are going to continue and to relaunch and grow stronger in the coming days. Andrew was putting his heart and soul into the websites and was just a normal, hard-working day at Breitbart.com, and it was very unexpected. And I went to the hospital as soon as I found out something had happened, and unfortunately Andrew had passed away.
I know everybody is shocked. I mean, I've been reading all of the social media. They're just shocked by his passing. Had he been ill at all?
Not at all. And Andrew, in fact, had called me earlier in the day to tell me his scooter had broken down at the gym, and so he was getting a lift with somebody else back to the office. I mean, Andrew was very active. He was having a competition with a friend of his as to who could lose more weight on the Atkins diet. I mean, he was taking care of himself. He looked great. He was active and engaged in everything we were doing, so it was just sudden and unexpected.
All right, so let's talk about his life. He seemed to enjoy the spotlight. Did he revel in all of the controversy?
No, Andrew reveled in the people that he was standing for, and he used the controversy as a tool to advance their stories that were often being forgotten in the mainstream media. That's how we met. I met him in 2009 when I brought him a story that I'd found about a blueprint for rolling out Obamacare had been written in federal prison, and Andrew saw this story and thought, why hasn't the media found this? And we got it into the media, and it's now part of the history of Obamacare. He was like that with so many stories, and so he got controversy going because often the mainstream media would look the other way when there was a story they didn't want to report. But Andrew was very much a happy warrior. He didn't court controversy for its own sake, and he was always willing to step aside and let other new voices come forward.
He was quite a controversial figure also. A lot of people are talking about the Shirley Sherrod incident and, you know, how he handled that. What do you think? Do you think that he ever rethought his tactics on that issue?
I'm going to do an Andrew Breitbart and ask you if CNN has rethought its tactics on the issue. CNN brought Shirley Sherrod on in the wake of what happened and invited her to say whether she wanted to shut his website down and what she wanted to do to get back at him. And Andrew used to joke that if he had a life story, he would call it the Anderson Cooper story, because he felt like Anderson Cooper had set up a narrative about the Shirley Sherrod incident that was completely contrary to what Andrew had done. So Andrew would throw that challenge back at you and say, when CNN rethinks the way it covered that story, maybe Andrew would have some rethinking to do.
Well, unfortunately, Andrew's not here right now to talk about this. How did he see himself?
Andrew saw himself as a happy warrior, a guy who was mostly happy-go-lucky, who loved British New Wave music, who loved Southern California, even though he was a conservative in a liberal community. But he also could be righteously indignant, and that's the title of his book, Righteous Indignation. And he did get angry when he felt that people were being drowned out by the mainstream media, or in some cases victimized by the mainstream media. And Andrew felt a passion about standing up for them, and that's what he was doing. There was no story too small, no person too small. Andrew was taking calls from people with stories all day and all night, and that's how he saw himself, a person who could have been living an easier existence, but who chose to be out there because he didn't see anybody else doing it, and he wanted to help people get their stories heard, whether they were from the right or from the left. Andrew had friends on the left who came forward and joined him and were part of what we're doing and are still part of what we're doing, because they realized that Andrew was a person who'd fight for them when they were struggling to be heard.
Well, certainly gone too soon. Joel Pollak, thank you very much for joining us today.